This is how we fill our raised beds with nutrient-rich material for free. All 5 layers can be easily collected or created. Today we'll be using some equipment from our Acorn Land Lab as we have yet to build it at our off-grid site. The first material for raised beds are logs.
To fill up our biggest epic Birdie's raised beds, we want as much cheap filler on the bottom as possible. Now when I say cheap, I don't mean anything that's got any type of impurities or toxins in it. We want old rotted wood. The older and the more rotted, the better. So we've got all these stumps and old firewood that's been decomposing outside, bark from a pine tree. We're gonna cut a lot of this down to size and use it as a filler on the base. The wood still has to decompose, so we don't want that near where the plant roots are gonna be, just as a base to prop up the higher quality soil. So you start with the cheapest stuff. Lots of wood on the bottom, rotted wood, funky wood.
The second layer for our raised beds is a mixture between leaves and grass.
Using the Ego mower to mow up the last of the summer grass and some of the leaves, take all that biomass to put in the bottom of the raised beds. Important note, make sure you don't use grass clippings that have been treated with pesticides or herbicides. Those types of chemicals can kill your veggie plants and put unwanted toxins in your potential food.
The third layer for your raised bed is compost. It's one of the most important layers.
This is going to be a long process. Compost takes time to produce. We have lots of compost we've made at the Acorn Land Lab. We're going to start just by layering compost on top. And every week, every month between now and spring, we're going to continue adding more soil. This is what it's going to look like once we've got more compost layered on. It'll continue compressing the leaves and the grass clippings over the next few months leading up to spring. So by consistently adding compost, the end result is going to look just like this, but with feet of compost instead of just a few inches on the top. This is how we fill the beds, bit by bit by bit, with various types of biomass. It takes inspiration from the hugelkultur method, where you take a log that's rotting, you layer on branches, and then you put topsoil in a row on the ground. So this is the layer or hugelkultur method for a raised bed being filled all the way up to the top.
Our fourth layer for the raised beds is biochar. Biochar is charcoal that has been inoculated with microbes. We first make charcoal by placing a small tin drum inside of a bigger tin drum. We fill the inner barrel with biomass, ranging from wood to okra stalks to coffee stirrers. We call this biomass the feedstock. We then surround the inner barrel with wood. We then light the outer wood on fire, which superheats the inner barrel. The outer wood turns into ash, but the inside was never touched by open flame. It turns just into charcoal.
Once you've got the charcoal that's completely extinguished, you can then crush it up, add it to compost directly so it gets inoculated with microbes and nutrients, or put it in a bath of liquid fertilizer, the type of JDAM fertilizer we brew in our big tanks.
The final layer is bone meal, which adds a lot of phosphorus to your raised bed. To make bone meal, we put pig and deer bones into a barrel. We place wood on top of that and light it on fire. Once the bones are brittle, you can crush it up into bone meal. To get started on your raised beds now, go over to Epic Gardening to get your raised beds 5% off by using the code ALL5.